The winds fan the flames of the warriors' fighting spirits.
Let's see which way the wind's blowing. I dedicate this to the wind.
Welcome. This is Top Tier Tips.
How did my dance look?
Greetings everyone. This is Force Nature of Top Tier Tips, and I welcome you to another SoulCalibur 6 guide. In this session, we're going to be taking a look at the Priestess of the Wind, Talim. Talim is a fairly advanced character that will require you to make use of various stances to either keep your opponent off balance, to keep your offense going, or even for evasion. These stances can include the Wind Charmer, 2p plus K, 8p plus K, Wind Salt, 6p plus K, or Wind Fury, 4p plus K. And you can exit out of it by pressing the guard button. The Wind Fury can also lead into other stances, so just do 4p plus K, then press either like up for Wind Charmer, down also for Wind Charmer, or forward, so right there you can chain into it. You can also enter into stances off of certain moves, like there's a bunch of them, but let's say for instance 6AA. Then what you do is you press the direction that you want. So after 6AA, forward, Wind Salt. Up and down, so Wind Charmer, and back you can go into Wind Fury, and then you can even chain it again. So you kind of get the idea of how kind of like Talim's flow can kind of be. Like the stances can kind of complement each other, and they like I said before, they're a pretty integral part of her gameplay. But before I go on, I want to thank Smart Esports and TrollCoin for endorsing this video. And as always, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway. And don't forget to subscribe for more juicy 3D fighter content. I'm gonna address the elephant in the room right now. Talim is a shorty. And what comes with being a shorty is that Talim has very stubby range, so like she's effectively the shortest range character in the game, so what that means is that one of the greatest challenges you're going to have against most opponents is just simply getting in on them. Because generally with Talim, you do want to be pretty close to them. Like, she does have a 12-frame AA and a 14-frame BB, so speed, obviously for her, she's really good with regards to speed. The only thing you really have to worry about is 10-frame AAs from like Taki, or like, well, Cassandra now has an I-10 AA, and I think Aswell also has a I-10 AA. So, I mean, other than that, speed is not really a problem, but range is going to consistently be a challenge for you during the neutral game. Since getting on your opponent's going to be a bit of a challenge, here are some moves that you can use to try, well, as kind of get-in moves. You could use 6-6 AA. Alright, this move is safe on block. It is a horizontal high. It does have the ability to enter into stance. So like again, when I said you can go into stance, forward Wind Salt, Wind Charmer. So again, you can go into any of the stances. So yeah, when I go through this guide and say you can go into stance, under most circumstances you can go into any of the 3 stances, and 6-6 AA allows you to do that. It's one of the, on average, it's one of the better ranged moves for Talim, for stuff that you can kind of just chuck out. But if you'd like a similar move that you can also use as a bit of a poke, you have 6AA. This move also, well, it's a horizontal high that's safe on block. It also has the ability to go into stances. And under most circumstances, if you want a go-to stance to go into, Wind Charmer will usually be your go-to stance to go into, since Wind Charmer is good for continuing your offense. Actually, while we're talking about 6A, there's actually a couple other options you can do. There's 6AA. Again, I said it can go into stance. There's 6AB. This is a slower follow-up, but it is a +2 mid attack on block. So I mean, yeah, the weakness is that it's a bit slower, but it's good whether it gets blocked or if the opponent gets hit by it. And if you want another quick follow-up or a quick mid, you have 6AK. Right here, it causes a knockdown. I don't really think you can get anything after it, but it is basically a quick knockdown mid. The interesting thing about 6AK, it is really delayable. I mean, check out that delay. You can basically just like hold onto that. So there, you have like 3 options after you can do like 6A. The common ones you will most likely be using mostly just 6AA or 6AK. The 6AK is for people that are wanting to like deal with 6AB, for instance. Once you do get an opponent, a move that you can just kind of chuck out against them is Talim's 3A. This move is good whether it's hit or whether it's block, because at least Talim at +2, and it sets up her dangerous back turn stance. So, and this move does crouch under a bit, so I think it can go under highs. It's a, well, it's a tracking mid. The move's weakness is that it's a little slow, and it's like most of Talim's move, it's very stubby. But in close range, you can kind of just like chuck this out. When you do hit it, then you can follow it with a back turn B. I'll let you know that back turn B is just a good move in general, but I'll go over that a little later. So, and then you can do either back turn B to knock the opponent away, or you can smack 2B with back turn B, 2B. Yes, I just made that pun. Alright, so if let's say if this move does get blocked, the fastest move, at +2, the fastest move that Talim's gonna have is her back turn 2A, which is, well, it's a couple frames slower than her normal 2A, but that will be your fastest option. Anytime you have a knockdown like this where you don't really set up any sort of significant follow-up or combo juggle or whatever, then what you can actually do is just use the OP opportunity to do this flip move here to back turn B plus K. And what this does is set up a stronger version of the 3A move, which is the A plus B right here. So back turn B plus K, A plus B, and you get the break attack. If you hold it down a bit longer for the double flip, then you can get this unblockable attack like what I showed you earlier. A good go-to string in close range with Talim is their AA-BA string. You can also use their AAA string, which is just 3 track and highs that leaves her in back turn. But with AA-BA, you can press up and down and go into the Wind Charmer stance to be able to continue your offense. So you can do stuff like AA-BA Wind Charmer AKA, or stuff like, or you can kind of just keep doing it. And or you can even do the BA option that, again, leaves Talim in back turn. And I'll say right now, in back turn stance, Talim, arguably your most dangerous option is their B option right here. So if you're in back turn stance and hit with B, you can use 4BB for pretty decent damage. Or you can use 4B and 3B and turn the opponent around. And then for back turn, you can do B plus K. And then use a back turn B plus K, A plus B set up on the opponent. If you'd like to mix up the opponent in close, you can shake him up with the 1K low. See right here, I think it's unsafe on block. It is neutral on hit, but it's hard to react to low, so you don't really have to worry about it getting blocked too often. And Talim's AA is 12 frames and her BB is 14 frames, so at worst, after this move hits, you'll trade with most characters at worst. So I mean, so yeah, Talim has good speed, so neutral on hit is pretty good. 4AK is a decent kind of high mid poke with the tracking kick afterwards. It's safe on block, and I think it might be light positive on hit also. So it's a kind of decent move to chuck out. And now here's a nice move with Talim is her 4B, and you see it kind of sucks the opponent in when it hits, even though its range looks shorter than it should be. This move is 14 frames, so it's the same speed as like Talim's, well, her neutral B or her 5B. So with 4B, you have the option to do 4BB, but the nice option is 4BA. This leaves Talim in her back turn stance. And again, from her back turn stance, her B option is always really dangerous. So you have the option to do 4BA, or you can hold it down. And right there, it causes a pretty big stun where you can do back turn B, then 4BB for pretty good damage after it, even though it is kind of slow and it's a bit of a telegraphed high. So usually just go for this, set up the back turn, then try and either do like back turn 2A, either do back turn 2A or try and suck the opponent in with the B. So though another thing you actually can do is you can actually cancel it, do 4BA, then guard, 4BAG, just like that, and then it just cancels it. Like this, and now Talim's in back turn, and then start your shenanigans, or whatever. If you want to set up crouch with Talim, then 2A will be your recommended move of choice. 2K is okay, but even though it's a real low, it is negative on normal hit, so where 2A is positive on normal hit, even though it can be blocked standing or crouching, and yes, it is negative on block. But yeah, the main reason why you'd want to set up crouch is so you get access to Talim's powerful full crouch 3BB. So, and with that move, when you do connect it, it goes in. When you do connect it, it leads into the Wind Salt, so you can do Wind Salt K, then you can chain into Wind Salt B for a small juggle. Although this is generally a mid-range-ish tool, Talim's 6BB is really dangerous. As you see right there, it's a natural combo on normal hits, so you always get your 41 damage. It also has the ability to transition to stances, so you can kind of mix up the opponent with a Wind Salt mix-up, or you can go into Wind Charmer too. So basically you can use you can transition to your different stances off it, but also, yeah, the opponent does not want to get hit by this on counter hits also. Because then you can do 6BB, then follow up with a Wind Charmer A+B, or you can also do something pretty hilarious, is do 6BB, then follow up with a Wind Salt K, where Talim smacks the opponent with their head.
I'm serious. Come to me.
When fighting with Talim around, let's say, mid to long range, your general focus with her would be trying to just simply get in on the opponent. I already showed you earlier that 6-6A and 6AA are both good pokes you can use to get in, and they can both lead into Talim's stances. But you may also want to engage in Talim's brand of keep out. I call it Talim's stance dance. Alright, the first neat aspect with Talim is that her reversal edge, this move right here, it has the ability to cancel into any of her stances. So this automatically makes her have one of the best reversal edges in the game. But as you can see in the top left, it does reduce your guard gauge stamina, so yeah, it's still a reversal edge. But the ability to cancel out is really good. The main reason why she has that is that Talim is pretty much a shorter range than almost any character in the game. So what you can do to try to protect yourself around mid to long range is, well, the reversal edge, which basically catches all types of strikes, and you can even catch throws. So you can do this is then, instead of just simply chucking it out like most characters, Talim can basically use her reversal edge safely. Although, of course, if the opponent catches on that you're doing in this stance, and they can, well, respond to your stance, but it's still really good that you can do that. So the most common things you're going to do is, like, you can cancel into Wind Charmer, up or down. You can go into Wind Fury, this stance right here. So, yeah, I mean... And also, I already showed you earlier, the ability for Wind Fury to go into your stances can also be really good for kind of just dancing around at range. I already showed you this tool earlier, but I'm going to reiterate it right now. I'm talking about 6B. Alright, what I meant earlier that this tool is more of a mid-range tool is that this is going to be your tool you're going to use with Talim for, well, basically your go-to linear whip punisher. It also can be used, if you use it in close, it can also be used like to catch backsteps. I already told you earlier that it's a normal hit. It's a normal hit combo on well, it's a combo on normal hit. So it's always good. It has the ability to be able to pressure. But another thing also I didn't really note about this move is it does have a break attack. So hold the second B and 6BB, and you get a break attack. So if the opponent was to block this normally, you'll be left at -16. So with the break attack, if the opponent either tries to, I don't know, try and GI to second hit or anything, or just simply block it and punish you, then you have the break attack. And of course, the way how the opponent would deal with the break attack, if they use it every time, is they'll have to interrupt you, so you'll have to mix it up. But if you are using it as a whiff punisher, you can usually just do the normal hit, like no problem. Another move that can aid with Talim's kind of like stance at range is her 4-4B. So this move ends up leaving her in back turn. It's a jumping move, so it jumps over lows, and it leaves her in a crouching position. So it has both tech jump frames and tech crouch frames. If it actually jumps over a low, it actually ends up causing a lethal hit, which is pretty awesome. And you might have seen a little earlier that this move can lead into your stances, like this. So you see right there, just doing something like 4-4B, then back go into Wind Fury, or 4-4B, Wind Charmer, or 4-4B, or attempt offense. So as you see right here, 4-4B is a really nice move. And anytime you want to surprise the opponent at range, just punch him in the face with 6-6B. Let's take a look at Talim's stances. First, let's take a look at Wind Fury, 4B+K. Alright, when you're in this stance, you see that Talim is glowing green. That means that she's healing health. So, anytime you need to heal health, just go back into this stance, and then you're basically putting pressure on the opponent to have to come at you. If the opponent ends up running at you, Then nail him with this move here, Wind Fury BB. You saw how much damage that does? Let's take another look. 83 damage. I mean, like, for Talim or just in general, that's a crap ton of damage. So this is the move that makes the opponent think twice of running at Talim when she's into Wind Fury. The nice thing about Wind Fury is because it's the 4B+K, it's a good stance if you ever need to create space with Talim, so it's a good bait-in stance. This stance can lead into other stances such as, well, itself. You can just keep doing it. Unlike using with the reversal edge, it doesn't cost you your guard gauge, so you go into here. Then the B option is really good. Or BB, I mean, particularly. You can also enter Wind Fury by just inputting B+K, so you end up crouching down on the spot while healing in Wind Fury. This is opposed to 4B+K, which ends up entering Wind Fury while retreating, so you can make use of both. So aside from just the awesome Wind Fury BB, which is the most dangerous option, you also have a couple other options. You have Wind Fury A, which is just a sneaky low. You use that against opponents that are just standing there blocking. And you also have Wind Fury K, which allows her small juggle and Oki pressure situation. There's also an unblockable with Wind Fury A+B, but it's kind of just a slow, telegraphed unblockable, so you're better off just trying to nail the opponent with Wind Fury B instead. Next up is Wind Salt, 6B+K. Alright, with this stance, generally what you're going to be trying to do is hit the opponent with Wind Salt A. This is the track-in low. You're going to be mixing this up with Wind Salt B or A+B. As you see, if you hit with the A+B, you can get like a small follow-up. So generally, using this move the most. See, this stance is... The mix-up for this stance is mainly for if the opponent ends up kind of expecting you to do 6-6 AA a lot, so you can use this for a slight kind of mix-up opportunity. You can also, again, this does augment the stance with like 4B+K, then you can jump forward right here, so it looks like you're kind of just like jumping around. But as opposed for the kind of like small opportunities to try and sneak into Wind Salt A, Wind Salt is usually used just to, I don't know, augment combos a little bit. Wind Salt A also lets you transition into other stances. So it makes it an even better go-to option. And now onto Wind Charmer. I already showed you that AABA is a good way to enter into Wind Charmer. Alright, I already went over kind of like go-to options like AKA, but and also BA is good. The K option is kind of good as kind of more so of an interrupt, although just doing AA is fine. And also because AA can also transition into stances, like I showed you. I already showed you earlier that Wind Charmer AA can obviously chain into itself, but it, just like most other stance transition moves, it can transition into any of the stances, so that makes it a really nice move. Alright, I haven't showed you yet though that Wind Charmer also has a throw right here. Alright, so it leaves Talim in back turn, and obviously it gives you a decent amount of advantage when it does hit. And in back turn, again, this is your go-to dangerous. That's your go-to dangerous options, the B option, and of course your 2As kind of like if you just want like a fast option to make sure that the opponent does not like push any buttons at all. But usually this throw is actually a pretty good stand-in option if you know the opponent's just going to stand there, because this throw is unbreakable if I'm not mistaken. And setting up back turn is always nice. Alright, now we're going to be looking at Talim's, well, crushes, high crushes, low crushes. In close, a good high crush with Talim is her 1A+B. Like, it doesn't really allow for anything on, well, you can't really do much on normal hit. You could do 6-6 A+B for a fault, which is alright. But the main thing is that this is much nicer if it was, for instance, to connect on counter hit. Like, check out that launch. Other high crushes, of course, is 2A, 2K, 1A, and 1B. As for low crushes, you have 9A, a low, 9K, mid, and 9B. There's also stuff like 6BK or 66K. This kick is, as you see, it's a slower low crush, but it's also, I think, advantage on block about +2. So if you can get the opponent to block this, then you're at +2 while back turned. And of course, there's also like Wind Salt also crushes, and I think Wind Fury, if you retreat into it, can go under it. So a couple of your stances can end up avoiding lows. Actually, while we're on the topic of 9B, this move can actually be kind of interesting if you can actually nail this with the opponent. It can combo into Talim CE. Actually, Talim CE can be pretty damn cheap. For instance, Talim CE goes pretty damn far for what is essentially a stubby character. And number 2, Talim CE is a low crush. So what that basically means, if Talim can basically just, let's say she's downed, and then boom, you just avoided any lows and just punish with your CE while like down it. So yes, your CE is one of your go-to low crushes. And as you see right there, also has 3 hits, so the opponent has to kind of block all 3. But that's not even like the cheapest stuff about this CE. You could transition into any stance after the second hit gets blocked. Alright, Wind Charmer, there's Wind Salt. And there's Wind Fury, so I mean like, this is essentially like a safe on block CE unless the opponent correctly calls out the stance transition. So I mean, yeah, it's fairly safe to chuck this out. And also, this CE has 3 opportunities for the opponent to get hit by it. That's the first one. Oh, still in the range. Now here's the second hit, and when the second hit connects, it still transitions into the hit throw, and you get an awesome 80 damage for doing so. And let's see if the third hit ends up connecting with the opponent. You still get the hit throw, and you get 70 damage for this while Talim blows away corruption, and she ends up healing herself. So this is a pretty damn good CE. Just for a couple extra notes with regards to the, well, both high crushes, low crushes. With regards to sidesteps, Talim's 2-2 or 8-8A is a really good tracking high crush. Talim's old 3-3A, so it also has the ability to transition into any of the stances, whether it hits or whiffs or anything like that. So, but it's mainly just used for its awesome track and high crush capabilities. There's also now 2-2K, which I think might have some low crush capabilities. I'm not fully sure, but it is a really good kind of interrupt, high interrupt move. You see, it kind of looks like it's almost like jumping around the opponent. So 2-2K is a nice move. And there's also 2-2B right here. You see right there, it also has a just frame option to it too. So it's a nice kind of just sidestep, and you can kind of just punish with it. Alright, now we're going to take a look at Talim's guard gauge damage. Alright, with Talim, you're either going to be using kind of more slower moves, something like 9B to kind of run up the guard gauge, or like 6AB. I know you have to be careful, you have to sometimes do other moves to be able to keep the opponent off balance so they don't end up anticipating it. But if you want something faster, even something simple like AA, BA right there, you end up doing like 6%, and it's advantage if you go into Wind Charmer, and it's just safe if you just do it normally. So I mean, that's also pretty good. Of course, break attacks are always good at running up the gauge. There's also 6-6K, but again, like 6AB, it could be a bit telegraphed if you use it too predictively, but if you can end up sneaking it in, and you can end up getting like pretty good guard gauge damage. 6-6B is okay. 4BB is also nice. This move I think is just light negative on block, so that one's pretty good. There's also 6B. If you just do it normally, yeah, you're unsafe. Minus 16 the opponent's right there, but if you do the guard break, same, well, typical kind of like break damage, so that one's also good for running up the gauge. But in general, you're just simply gonna have to be hitting the opponent, or just whacking the opponent a lot in order to run up the guard gauge, apart from like 4B, which is, well, a linear move. With regards to breaking the opponent's guard and end up inducing a guard burst, you can end up breaking the guard with stuff like 6-6B, 9B, 6-6A plus B, 4-4K, 4BB, 6 BB, 2 BB. And you can also use stuff like 6K, which leaves you back turn the same as 6BK. Or like 4B, which also leaves you back turn. Then you follow up with the back turn B. But in general, when you get a guard burst, follow up with 236B.
I was overwhelmed.
Utilize evasive tempting.
I was overwhelmed.
Utilize evasive tempting.
I was overwhelmed.
Utilize evasive
Dedicate this to
tempting.
the wind. Wings of the sky. Raise my dance. Blow away corruption. How did my dance look?
Talim's throw game can be pretty interesting, but I'll just look at her standard throws right now. Here's her A plus G throw. 45 damage, knocks the opponent away, keeps him in front of you. Here's her 4 A plus G, or back A plus G throw. Alright, does 50 damage, so slightly more damage, leaves the opponent, well, close by. And now here's her left side throw. Switches sides, so does 55 damage, creates a little bit of space between you. Here's her right side throw. Gives the opponent a spank it and knocks him pretty far away, gets 60 damage, pretty cool. Wrong throw. And here's her back throw. Also knocks the opponent away and does 65 damage. It's kind of weird that a close range character like Talim would have so many throws that knocks the opponent away, but it is what it is. However, the interesting part of Talim's throw game is when you implement her stance throws. She has 2 throws from back turn and 1 throw from Wind Charmer. So her 2 throws from back turn is just simply either A plus G from back turn. Alright, you chuck the opponent away, well, not too far, and you get 55 damage. And the main throw that you're going to be going to when back turn is her 4 A plus G throw. It's a 2-part throw. You see right there, if you don't do the follow-up, you just break the opponent's arm and get 40 damage. But if you press either back A or 6A right after you input the throw, then Talim goes for a mounted follow-up and you get a cool 75 damage after that. And now for Talim's Wind Charmer throw, which is just simply during Wind Charmer, so 8B plus K, 2B plus K, just press the throw button. And now you get this throw, which I think I showed earlier, that leaves Talim back turn. And these are at pretty considerable advantage, like as much as plus 16. So almost any back turn option you do, like the A option, the B option, like any of this will be a frame trap. Even the 24 frame break attack, A plus B, will pretty much because if you're at as much as plus 16, it'll be like an 8 frame move. So like any of these moves you could use to try and pretty much frame trap your opponent. So so this throw is really nice. I'll also let you know that this throw is unbreakable, so it's pretty much like a high unblockable out of your... Well, because it's unbreakable, it's a high unblockable out of your Wind Charmer stance. So like, again, I've always said the B option is really dangerous. The A option is also really dangerous. A, B, so there's a bunch of options right there. Of course, the break attack is good. And for mind games, that's where B plus K comes into play. When you got the opponent back into the corner with Talim, you're going to be wall slamming them with stuff like 66B, 6K, 3B, or even 2A plus B could do it, but in general, it's usually best with 66B or 3B. Alright, we're going to take a look at Talim's Soul Charge moves right now. First, we're just going to take a look at her Soul Attack, which is inputted with 236 A plus B plus K, or quarter circle forward A plus B plus K, like so. See, Talim ends up summoning a tornado that ends up sucking the opponent into you. Alright, let me just let this wear off. If you end up holding it down, so same input, quarter circle forward A plus B plus K, then Talim ends up going into the Wind Fury. While Talim is Soul Charged, she basically becomes even more of an offensive beast than she already is. So her Soul Charge augments her with basically having even more devastating, well, offensive pressure, and along with just making it easier for her to just simply get in on the opponent. For instance, a couple moves you can use to get in on your opponent is like 66BB, which is a super launcher when it hits, or is a break attack if it like were to get blocked, for instance. That's also same with Wind Salt B or 6B plus KB. See, it's also like a launcher and break attack, and of course, if you hold down B after Wind Salt B, you can go into Wind Fury, regardless in Soul Charge or not. So that's really good. Also, your Wind Charmer becomes more powerful with techniques such as with Wind Charmer AKAA, or with Wind Charmer ADB, for instance. This is the same kind of notion with like 6BB. If the opponent gets hit by the move, they get launched really high for a combo opportunity, and if they block it, it's a break attack, so your frame advantage plus you do guard gauge damage. So generally with Talim, when she's Soul Charged, you want to be in the opponent's face. So here are some other goodies from Soul Charge. Your 6-6A basically becomes like an extended string with 6-6AAAB. Your AAB string becomes a break attack. If you hold down the last hit, you can go into, well, Wind Fury. And let's see what other kind of goodies you get. Here with BKAA, so you get an extra hit to the BK. Alright, while I'm at it, I'm just going to show Talim's Season 2 moves right now. Alright, she didn't really gain that many additional moves compared to other characters, but she still got some notable additions, and I have used a couple of them throughout this guide. The first one I'm going to show you is 6BK. So this is basically just a 6-6K follow-up to Talim's 6B, so not an alternative to just doing the unsafe 6BB. So it's the same as 6-6K. So it's +2 on block, and at least Talim in back turn, so you can go for mix-ups or whatever, but of course it has the same weakness of being a highly telegraphed linear, well, mid-attack. But it's still a nice addition. Alright, Talim now also got a new addition to her Wind Charmer, and that's Wind Charmer BA. I like this move. It's very similar to 4BA, which is a mid-attack into a high attack that leaves Talim back turn, and again you can go for back turn mix-ups. And a couple of the other additions added during Season 2 kind of feel like, I don't know, I feel kind of a little goofy and gimmicky from back turn stance. The first one I'm going to show is 2B+K. So this one right here is just simply Talim doing the splits. So you have another low out of back turn right there, which actually looks kind of hilarious. And Talim also now has 8B+K. So right now this is actually pretty cool, because now you do get a formal launcher out of back turn, because normally what you do is just start your combos with the B option. But now with 8B+K, you can now follow up with that A+B combo if you so desire for solid damage plus a back turn mix-up. And the last additional move ends up being, it's an augment to Talim's 2B, which is actually a good move in general. This move is only -2 on block, so it's safe from punishment, and it's a good go-to way for going into back turn stance. So out of Soul Charge, Talim gains 2BAB. Unfortunately, it's not a break attack, but like most of Talim's Soul Charge moves, it ends in a launcher. Alright guys, that's it for now. Alright, Talim has a few unblockable attacks, and I showed a couple already. For instance, she has her quarter circle back B. Right there, it just does 50 damage. It's a standard linear unblockable. Its range leaves a little to be desired. Since it's a main unblockable, Talim can cancel it. When she cancels it, she goes into her Wind Salt instead, so you can end up doing like different kind of like mix-ups. That's pretty cool. The other two unblockables is out of Wind Fury, it's just A+B. Right there, so her linear unblockable. And the one that you might get maybe a little more possible mileage out of is the one out of back turn stance, which is B+K hold. So double jump, A+B. This one comes out fast, but you have to fake out the opponent with the double jump. So you do have to do some kind of like conditioning with that, and you have to make liberal use of 2A to make sure that the opponent is not, well, knows to just kind of stay there and to not like try and like intercept you. Because remember, you have to mix it up with just doing a single one, which leads to the break attack, then hold it down for 2, then the break attack comes out right away. You can actually hold down, you can hold it down fully and get, well, you can just charge it up a bit more, but I find it's better to just simply just chuck it out as opposed to charging it. A nice track and whiff punisher that you can use with Talim, well, aside from, well, using 6VB is her 4-4A. Like this move right here. See, it is a high, and the second hit's a mid. If it gets blocked, you will be unsafe, but if you think the opponent's... So if you're not certain that the move's gonna hit, so I mean, it does complement a backdash because it's a 4-4 input. But yeah, if you think the move's gonna get blocked, you could charge the second hit, then you get a track and guard break. But as you can see, yeah, its second hit comes out pretty slow, so yeah, if you think the opponent's gonna have to block, either do this or just simply do the first hit. And for the unfortunate situation, if you do find yourself having to deal with a reversal edge clash, what you can do is press forward with Talim, and then you go into your Wind Fury, and then you can, depending if you end up evading or go under an attack, then you can punish the opponent with Wind Fury BB for some like tremendous damage. Alright guys, that's it for now. Thank you for joining me on this very fructuous Talim journey. Once again, I would like to thank Smart Esports and SoulCalibur for endorsing this video. And as always, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway. And don't forget to subscribe for more juicy 3D fighter content. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, feel free to join Top Tier Fighters. The support does help, and I do appreciate it. And if you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Or you can also contact Force of Nature on 8wayrun.com. Anyways, this is Force Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time on Top Tier Tips.